There is a sound some of you know. Not a loud sound, a small click, somewhere far back in memory. The moment something happened that cannot be undone. A door closing. A word you would take back if the world allowed take-backs. A choice made in a single, careless second that the rest of your life has had to live around. You have been carrying it. Some of you for years. Some of you for so long you no longer remember what it felt like before you were carrying it. And underneath the ordinary noise of your day, the work, the talking, the small smiles you give people without thinking, there is a question you have probably never said out loud to anyone. Will this ever actually end? I want to tell you tonight what a barefoot priest beside the Ganges said to people who asked him exactly that. Not a philosopher writing from comfort, a man who lived in a small temple room, who wept in front of a stone image of the mother because he believed completely that she could hear him. His name was Sri Ramakrishna, and what he taught about karma will not comfort you the easy way. He will not tell you none of it was real. He will not tell you to simply step back and watch your suffering from a safe distance and call that freedom. He does something harder, and in the end, something far kinder. He used to explain a particular kind of karma, the kind already set in motion for this one life, this one body, with an image so plain a child could follow it, and so final that grown men went quiet hearing it. A bullet, once it has left the gun, cannot be called back. Sit with that for a moment, not as a clever phrase, but as something happening to you right now. Somewhere in your life, a cause has already been set loose. It is traveling toward you, or it already arrived and is still working itself out. And there is no apology fast enough, no regret deep enough to reach into the air and put it back in the chamber. This is what he meant by prarabdha karma. Not the whole infinite chain of cause stretching back further than memory can follow. Just the portion already fired, already assigned to this body, this lifetime, this face in the mirror. It will land. He was honest enough to say this had happened to him too. Late in his life, he developed a painful condition in his own throat, the illness that eventually took him from the people who loved him. And he traced part of it back to something that had happened years earlier with his own brother. His brother had been delirious with fever, reaching again and again for water that would have harmed him in that state. Ramakrishna gently took the glass away before he could finish drinking it. And his brother, burning, not himself, angry in the confusion of the fever, said something that none of us would ever want said about us. That Ramakrishna would suffer the same, that he would feel that same pain one day in his own throat. Years passed. The fever broke. Life went on the way life does, quietly covering over the cracks of small angers everyone assumes have been forgotten. And near the end of his life, the wound appeared, in his own throat. And he said so himself, plainly, without bitterness. This is from that. Someone close to him, frightened, unwilling to accept it, asked how anyone could go on living if a careless word spoken in fever could reach across years and land inside the body of a saint, and his answer should stop you completely if you let it. He said his brother had been a righteous man, and a righteous man's word has to bear fruit. Not everyone's words land that way, but his did. Do you see what he was telling them? He was not exempt. Holiness did not buy him a way around the law. The bullet does not check whose chest it is entering. It was fired, it traveled, it landed, even in him. So if you came here hoping to be told that your past cannot touch you because you are secretly some untouched awareness floating above it all, I cannot tell you that in his name. He never told that to the people who came to him weeping. What he told them instead is something I think you need more than that cold comfort. He said the depth of the wound can change, even when the wound itself cannot be canceled. If you are destined to receive a cut as wide as a plow cuts into the earth, sincere remembrance of the divine name, real austerity, longing turned honestly toward Mother instead of away from her, can soften that cut down to something closer to a pinprick. The blow still comes, but it does not have to come unmet, unanswered, alone in the dark. This is not a transaction where a few words bought you a discount on consequence. It is closer to what happens in a house where something has truly gone wrong, and a parent is still in the room with the child while the consequence plays out. The broken thing is still broken, but nobody is facing it by themselves. He told his devotees who that parent actually was, not as metaphor. He spoke of having heard her own words directly, sitting in front of the image at Dakshineshwar, where other people saw stone, and he saw a mother who looked back at him. She told him, in his own account, that she was the mother of the whole universe, that she was the very Brahman the philosophers spent their lives writing about, that it was she who first made the difference between good and evil at all, that good karma and bad karma alike both answer to her. Hear how strange that actually is. Not a cold mechanism running with no one home inside it. A mother telling him she is the mechanism itself, and that the mechanism has a face, and the face is watching. She told him the law of karma is real, not pretend, but that she is the one who gave that law, and the one who can unmake it. Read that again in your own chest, slowly. This is not the philosopher's escape, there is no karma. Nothing was ever truly done. Her claim is bigger and stranger than that. Karma is real, and she still holds the authority to change its course. She told him that through love, through knowledge, through right action, all paths lead back to her, and that she herself would carry him across this ocean, where every action throws up another wave behind it, and that you cannot escape her. That even souls who melt completely into the absolute in the deepest possible meditation still return to her because she calls them back. Think about what that actually means. The single highest spiritual attainment available to a human being is still inside her hand. Those souls did not fail by returning. She wanted them again. So what makes you think the small, aching, shameful thing you have carried alone for years is somehow too much for her? He gave his devotees a picture for what is actually happening inside suffering like this. And it is not a punishment chamber. It is closer to a kitchen. The old physicians, the kaviraj, would take pure gold and seal it in a bottle with other rare ingredients, cover that bottle in wet clay, and set the whole thing directly into fire. The heat works on it slowly. The gold melts. It combines, in that sealed darkness, with everything else inside. And only after enough time in that fire does the physician finally break the bottle open and remove what is formed inside. Something that can heal. He used this image when people looked at the sudden death of a holy man and called it a tragedy, a life ended too soon. He said, perhaps the inner substance had already finished forming. Once the medicine exists, what does it matter whether the bottle is kept whole or finally broken? Hold your own suffering in that light, just for tonight. Not as proof you are being punished, as the sealed bottle in the fire with something gold inside it that was already gold before the heat ever began. The bottle breaks eventually. They all do. The only real question is whether, when it breaks, there is medicine inside or only ash. But he was honest about the danger hidden in that same fire, and this part comforts no one. He spoke of watching the kitchen hearth at the temple, log after log, year after year. Freshly cut wood, still wet inside, burns easily at first. You would never guess, watching the flame catch, how much moisture is still hidden deep within it. But the fire keeps working. And as it works, that hidden water does not simply disappear. It runs slowly, secretly, toward one end of the log. And there, it finally gathers enough to force itself out, and put out the very fire that drove it there. This, he said, is anger. This is the old resentment you think you have already forgiven, already moved past, quietly traveling, unseen, gathering in one corner of you, waiting. And he pointed to Hanuman as the living proof. In one storm of fury, Hanuman set an entire city ablaze, and only partway through the burning did he remember that Sita herself was sheltering inside that very city, in a grove he had crossed an ocean to protect. And he began to tremble, watching his own rage reach toward the one thing he loved most. So here is the whole weight of what he was actually offering people. Not a clever trick to step outside karma's machinery. Not passive resignation to whatever comes either. A relationship, not a technique you master alone in a room until you feel superior to your own suffering. A relationship with the one he insisted was actually administering all of it, the mother who made the law, who can soften the blow, who calls even the liberated back to herself because she is not finished loving them yet. This is why he never told a single grieving person who sat in front of him, go and realize you are pure, untouched awareness, and your suffering will simply dissolve. That was never his medicine. His medicine was always bring it to her. Bring the whole unfinished, shameful weight of it and set it down in front of her exactly as it is. Not after you have purified yourself first. Not after you have earned the right to approach. Now, tonight, as heavy as you currently are. So if you are the one carrying that small click in memory, the door, the word, the choice you would undo if the world allowed it. Here, finally, is what a man who suffered his own fired bullet in his own throat would actually say to you. He would not tell you it never happened. He would not tell you it does not matter. He would say the bullet has already left the gun. That part of the story cannot be rewritten. But the mother who gave the law that fired it is the same mother who decides how deep it lands. Go to her tonight exactly as you are. Not later when you feel ready. Not after the shame has quieted on its own. Say the name, even once, even brokenly. And let the wound that was meant to cut like a plow through the earth become, by her mercy alone, something closer to a pin. The fire is real, the bottle is real, and somewhere inside the heat you cannot escape tonight, something gold is already being made.